Most of us have favorite kinds of foods and favorite kind of recipes that we make the food that we eat. One of the things I really like is I call it Mexican Coke. It's Coke that comes from Mexico, comes in the glass bottle, and it's made with sugar, made with cane sugar. Whereas the Coke that is Coca-Cola that's available here in the United States and in a lot of other places in the world is made with corn syrup. And like, this isn't a comment on the whole corn syrup thing. But there's a difference between the two flavors. And I would say the cane sugar's better. I would say like that's the better kind of Coca-Cola. And I can taste the difference between the two. When we are making food and we change the recipe, it makes a difference in the result that we get. I don't remember what I was making. This was some time ago. I think I was supposed to put baking powder in whatever it was I was making, and I didn't have baking powder. I had baking soda, and like, I didn't know the difference. I'm not sure that I know the difference now, but I used baking soda instead of baking powder, and when it came out, like, it tasted different. It was not the desired result. And when we think about the gospel of Jesus, when we think about the plan that God has set in place for our salvation, to add to that gospel is to distort the gospel. And to distort the gospel is to change the gospel and let God's curse fall on anyone, including us or even an angel from heaven, who preaches a different kind of good news than the one we preach to you. I say again what we've said before: if anyone preaches any other good news or gospel than the one you welcomed, let that person be cursed. When we preach a different gospel than the one that has been proclaimed, than the one that has been given to us by God, other than the one that has been given to Paul by God, other than the one that has been enacted by Jesus, who was sent by God to rescue us from this evil world. When we distort the gospel, we are placing ourselves under the curse of God. So what we want to do is recognize, we want to know and understand what the actual gospel is, and we want to preach that gospel faithfully. And that's not just for pastors, that's for all of us. And by preach, I don't just mean get up and stand in front of a group of people and say it. I mean to demonstrate the gospel. Like, we want to demonstrate lives. We want to live our lives in such a way that demonstrates the reality of the true gospel that Jesus has saved us. And if we function in any other way other than that, then we're living out a false gospel. If we think our money is going to save us, or our activities are going to save us, or our righteousness in relation to our neighbors is going to save us, those things are false gospels. And if we live in accordance with them, we're going to be cursed. I really want to encourage you, as we're reading through Galatians over these next several months, I want to encourage you to think about the gospel, to think about the way that the gospel has impacted and affected your life, and to think about the way that the gospel is what it says it is, which is Jesus. Jesus gave his life for our sins, just as God our Father had planned, in order to rescue us from this evil world in which we live. Like, that's the gospel. And any other thing is a distortion of that. Any other thing is putting baking soda when it's supposed to be baking powder. And I would say it's using high fructose corn syrup instead of using cane sugar in your Coca-Cola. It's a distortion. It's an anathema. That's what that curse in Greek is. It's an anathema. It's a bad thing. So I want to encourage you to understand what the true gospel is and live that out, proclaiming it in your life with your words, with your deeds, with your thoughts, and the way that you love others. So love you, praying with you, praying for you. We'll talk to you soon.